The one single question that was rolling through my mind was, if I could live out my version of the perfect day every day, what would that day look like? Growing up, I really didn't know what I wanted to be, but the one thing I did know was that I would be some kind of storyteller. A series of events led me to quit my job in the 9-to-5. I didn't know what I was doing, but I also didn't really care to figure it out right away. I had just booked this one-way ticket to Kathmandu, and from Kathmandu, I was in Thailand for a month. After that, I was in Indonesia for a month. I was behind the camera, I was doing some writing, so I was doing all the things that I loved. But what all these things were going to add up to, at that time, I didn't know. I had no idea. I was just focused on doing something that I loved. When my trip was done, I knew I didn't want to work 9-to-5 anymore, but I had no money in the bank. I couldn't afford to do things. And it's tough when you're in that spot, when you're like, I know what I don't want, but I don't know what I do want. Where do you go with that? And the one thing that turned everything all around for me was making a vision board. And this whole time that I was making this thing, I ended up having 4 themes appear out of all these things that I had just cut out. And it was getting paid to travel the world. Alexia and I were working in Thailand for a little bit, and we came up with the idea of starting an Instagram account that was basically just a bucket list of all the places that we wanted to visit before we died. So we called it Before I Die, and people loved it. They were following it, they were super into it, and before we knew it, we had over 1 million followers on this account. And in many ways, growing this account was the start of being able to work with these luxury hotel industries, because now that we had this huge platform to provide exposure to these places, as well as the skill set of photography and writing, now we had this package deal. And at this point, we didn't realize that there was an entire industry behind this. Not only were they down to have us, our role was to go to these 5-star luxury properties and have the best possible time we could have and demonstrate to everyone how amazing these resort properties were. And that was our job. We had such a unique bird's eye view of the entire luxury 5-star industry that we could go to any one of these properties and say, you know what, here's what you're excelling at, here's what you could do a little bit better. But at the end of the day, even though we were traveling, we were still working. We were still providing value for these companies. But the difference is that it barely felt like work because we were doing exactly what it is we love to do. And it was basically fulfilling both this bucket list account as well as the vision board that I had made 3 years prior. They were all coming to fruition because we were doing what it was that we loved to do, following our intuition and our passions and just saying, you know what, we're not 100% sure where we're going to end up with this, but at this point it barely even matters because what we're doing right now is so epic. It's really scary when you quit your 9-to-5 for the first time, especially when you don't have a plan, But when you're ready to learn and go off on your own, you realize and you feel for the first time how big the world is and how much there is out there. And it might be scary to leave the safety of the 9-to-5. There is a space for you in this world where you can do your own thing and you can fill this void with your own magic that is all yours, and there's no feeling like that. Yeah, it's fucking scary. It's intense and you don't know what you're doing. There's ups and downs, but at the end of the day, there's just nothing like doing your own thing. I go by Mindy the Lion. I'm a social media consultant as well as an independent content creator, doing it all from behind my laptop.